everyone. Today I'm going to present my studies on the structure of Dongba script. Dongba script is a very unique and mysterious pictographic writing system still surviving in this world. Traditionally, they are used to transcribe the Dongba scriptures as shown in this picture. And they have also been found to transcribe the Tibetan sutras. And recently, they have also been applied to write secular documents like the property deeds, some notes, and letters. And the Dongba manuscripts are generally written from left to right and up to down. In some of the secular documents during Qing Dynasty and Mingguo Dynasty, they are written in vertical lines. But the common format for the Dongba manuscripts are in horizontal rows, and the sentences or verses are segmented with this as a grid. Therefore, it makes it sometimes looks like a pictorial painting. As analyzed by Feng Guoyu in his work, there are three types of correspondences between Dongba script and the Nasi language. So the first type is that a group of glyphs correspond to a passage of verses, as shown in this grid. This grid of Dongba pictographs, it is read as 13 verses and 79 syllables. And this group of pictographs describes a certain plot in the oral text. And it can be repeatedly used in other versions of the manuscripts or stories. This is copied from another version of the same story about the migration of the human being. And from the dictionary compiled by another scholar, Li Lingcang, Zhang Kun, and He Cai. And it is read as 14 verses and 78 syllables. These two versions of passages are similar, yet there are slight differences. Therefore, a group of pictographs corresponds to a passage of verses, but not the specific syllables in the language. Second type is to a group of pictographs represents a certain verse, as this are all from the story about the arrival of human being. And in this grid of verse, the left part, as shown here, there is a human figure, a line representing that he is walking, and a small mountain. The cross means the numbers. And it is read as a pentasyllabic verse to go across 99 slopes. However, the human figure, we can see that there is a slight difference from this human figure to the generic human figure. There is a long nose, there are the two horns, and in fact, it represents the ancestor of mankind. And he has a specific name, but it is not read in this verse. So this group of pictographs, we can count at least 3 parts. It corresponds to a verse. And the third type of correspondence is a pictograph corresponds to a word. This is the cover page of the manuscript, and there are 7 groups of pictographs. It is read as a 9-syllabic phrase. And we can find the correspondences between the glyphs and the syllables here. Like this one is B. This one is also B, representing the right. And this one corresponds to Ch, the misfortune, Gu, and Chober, to Chober it is the shortened form of this title of the story. This is a head of an elephant, and it is read as 错. And this line means to move, is read as bird. Yet the third syllable of the title, 2, is not written in this grid. It means arrive. And it is often used, represented by this glyph, which originally means bucket. And the religious text shows a special case of the application of Dongba script in writing down the language, because the religious text in this kind of religious texts, the Dongba glyphs are used as a sort of prompts or mnemonic devices to introduce the oral texts. And even if they can introduce a different unit of languages, each glyphs, in fact, have their corresponding words. Therefore, in the perspective of a function of this writing system, it is logographic. The aims of this study is to study the written modality of the Naxi language. To be more specific, I will conduct a study to build up a semantic index of Dongba script with digital aids. And in order to analyze the structure of Dongba script, the first dimension is to analyze the composition of the individual pictographs. There are different approaches to analyze this composition of individual pictographs. As attested in Yu Suishen's study, he classified the Dongba scripts, the Dongba glyphs, into 3 types. The basic pictographs, each of them has only one component and can be read as a monosyllabic word or disyllabic word. And the complex pictographs with fusion units, we can see there are some additional components added to the basic pictographs. And however, they represent still, the word they represent contains only one morpheme. And this one means sunlight, and this is to dry, and it's still monosyllabic word. And this one, there are a few multisyllabic words represented by this kind of glyphs. This one is a Tibetan loan word for a lunar mansion's name. And the third type is the complex pictographs with composed units. You can find the correspondences between the syllables with the different parts of the glyphs. Like in this one, Mutu means sunny. Literally, it's the sky arrives, and the moon is corresponds to the symbol sky, and the 2 is the sun with the lights. And this one is a comet. It is its name is a sort of explanatory name. Gerpo is a white star, so it's a white round and a white circle. And this part is a tail, and it corresponds to Mai, the syllable Mai. And even if it looks like a fusion unit, you can find the correspondences between the syllables with the different parts of it. So it belongs to the third type of the Dongba scripts, Dongba pictographs. And in this framework, the criteria of classification is the number of morphemes represented by the glyphs. And there are the Liu Shu theory, Liu Shu framework, the traditional grammatological framework applied to analyze the Chinese characters, have also been applied to the study of Dongba script with some modifications. For example, Feng Guoyu has proposed 10 categories of Dongba pictographs. And Wang Yuanlu has proposed 5 categories of pictographs. And they can still be corresponded to the 六书, the 6 categories of characters in a writing system, in a maybe sinographic writing system. And Zhou Youguang has also used this 六书 framework to analyze Dongba script. And he counted the percentage of different categories of the pictographs in this script. And 47% are pictograms, and around one third are compound indicatives and simple indicatives. And then 19% are phono-semantic compound characters and phonetic loans. And these statistics can be compared to other writing systems. Take the phono-semantic compound characters, for instance. Here in Dongba script, the number is 19%. And in the Oracle Bones script, this type of glyphs count around 20%. And in small cell script, it is 82%. It has increased significantly. Under the lens of the computational encoding, this Dongba script can also be analyzed through the ideal graph description of sequences and the characters. So from the composition, the structure of the glyphs. And there are 16 patterns of this kind of compositions. And here are some examples of them. The glyphs given here are basic pictographs or complex pictographs with fusion units. And for the complex pictographs with composed units, it is possible to decompose them to combinations of different patterns among these 16 slots. For example, in this pictograph, the sky full of stars, first you can find the upper part of it is sky, and the lower part is the stars full of surrounded by the dots, which means full. So they are the combination. It is the combination of 2 FF1 and 2 FF4. And take another character, for instance, the sky arrived and the ground placed. It is semantically, it is a combination of 2 phrases, the mu 2, this part, the upper left part, and the lower right part. But for the result of the combination, it is pattern 2FF3 and 2FF0. So first step, you can find the upper part, the middle part, and the lower part. Then in the middle part, it is composed of 2 parts, left and right. Then the second dimension to analyze the structure of this writing system is the radicals. The radical system. Radicals have different names in different works, like in a semantic element, or key, or classifier, or determinative, or signific. It refers to the dominant part, which represent the core meaning of the glyph. And it can also be interpreted as the label of clusters of glyphs. And in the context of Chinese writing systems, the terms used, the terms were head of sections and sections. And under this 2-level of radical system framework, here is an example of the glyphs from the clusters, from the glyphs related to astronomy. And the 11 of the head of sections can be highlighted. They are numbered from as 1 to 11. And then in the secondary level with the hyphen after each number. The sub radicals are listed here. So as for this 11 head of sections, there are 23 sections in all. And with this framework, I have regrouped all the glyphs from the dictionary compiled by Li Lingcan, Zhang Kun, and He Cai, and I have highlighted 222 head of sections and 374 sections. This analysis on the radical system can be arbitrary to some extent. It has also been conducted by Zamblera, and take the cluster related to the human figure, for instance. He has highlighted 3 categories. One category A includes the glyphs of man related to man and his occupations. Category B, woman and her occupations. And the major the representative glyphs he highlighted include the man, the woman, and to speak, to sit, and alive or dead or die as the representatives of each cluster. However, in fact, there are many other positions of the human figure, and the rationale is not explained in this. And here is my analysis of the dictionary of Li Lingcan. Of the glyphs related to the with the human figure. And I have highlighted 26 radicals and with 51 subradicals. And here it includes the glyphs related to human, to ghost, to gods, and different actions of human beings. For example, the sitting figure. This is the normal glyph for sitting. Priests. There is another way to write the sitting figure. For the divine deities, there is another way, an additional alternative to represent the sitting one. Okay. And I have also introduced the digital aids for the analysis on the structure of the Dongba script. I applied the network analysis to it, which originally is used in the field of computational analysis for the massive data relationship and traffic in the massive data. And here is a screenshot of the database I have prepared. Here list all the entries from the dictionary, the transcriptions, and the meanings, and there are here the different components of the glyphs are listed with links to the corresponding classes of glyphs. And then this is the graph of the cluster of astronomy. And the orange dots, orange nodes are the radicals, basic radicals. The blue ones are the sub-radicals, and the gray ones are the individual glyphs. And the size of the nodes depends on how many lines, how many connections. and it can the numbers are read automatically by the program. So here for sky, there are 18. It is 18. For the moon, here it's 14. Star is 23, and the sun here is most salient dots nodes in this network. Here are some explanations about the data list used 120 glyphs related to astronomy. And in this graph, there are 186 nodes, inclusive of radicals from other clusters, 243 edges. With this data, we can calculate the workload of the radicals. And for this calculation, I have excluded the isolated nodes, which appear only once or twice. And then with the average weight of the nodes is 1.337, and the workload of the radicals, of the co-radicals, is 14.5, and this is the sub-radicals. And this number in 说文解字, the first Chinese dictionary, is 17.69, which means on average, the each radical is used around 17 times. So there are 17 characters with the same radical. And the number in Kangxi dictionary, the dictionary compiled in late Qing dynasty, so with a lot more characters. The number is 219. And on the other side, we can calculate the percentage of radicals in the writing system. The number of Dongba script is 6.9. So 8 out of 116 glyphs. And if we count on average without excluding the isolating nodes, it's 9.2. And in the Chinese small seal script, the number is 5.65. And in the Egyptian the percentage of radicals is between 10.4% to 16.8%. And in this network analysis, the type of bits can be represented through the different colors of the edges. So the different types of connections between the written symbols and the language. So BOTS has a element module to analyze the type of writing systems. It's phonetically related to the language, or it's semantically related to the language. And John Milner calls it and has also applied it to the Dongba script studies. And in my current analysis, I have added a third element. It's the phonetic sign. Here are 3 examples of this. So analyze if each component is represents the morpheme in the word represented by the complete glyph, or semantic, and or phonetic. The complicated case so far I have encountered is a glyph with 5 different components. And this is a colored, the network graph with colored edges. And in this 53 graphs of the radical sky, the connection between each component of the glyphs with the language, with the morpheme in the word. The most this one is format. The form, the phonetic, and the semantic are all the same with the morpheme in the word. The second is it is used as an ideograph and doesn't correspond to the sound in the word. And third is used as a phonetic loan. The original meaning is not the same as the meaning of the morpheme in the word, but it is homophonic because there is a possibility that the original meaning of the form is not the same as the common meaning it represents. And here is the conclusion. I have talked about the typology of Dongba script and analyzed the structure of Dongba script from 3 different dimensions. And this work is also a check of the current database of Dongba script. And it contributes to enhance the current database. Thank you.
Thank you, Duoduo. So because time is very short, we will take only one question by Chen Shen Song.
Hi, thanks for the very fascinating and informative talk. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot. Actually, my question is quite simple and probably also naive because I know very little about the Dongba script, but I guess there are at least some loan words from Chinese in the Naxi language, right? So if so, then how are the Chinese loan words represented usually in the Dongba script? Is there any special way or do people simply adopt the Chinese characters? That's my question, thanks.
Yeah, there are some characters. They resemble. They look like Chinese characters, like the word to speak. It looks like shang in Chinese. Yeah, there are also some glyphs looks like Tibetan alphabet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so the Dongba script actually absorbs different symbols from other scripts as well. That means it's still an open system. Great.
Yes, it has some local characters from other writing systems.
Thank you. And also another tiny question. I found the system of Dongba script very fascinating, and so I was wondering whether there might be or there was already some input method for us to type directly on the computer.
Yeah, there are some keyboards already developed. The first keyboard is called Dongba. Yeah,
okay.
and there is also this recent font called Babel Stone. Yeah,
wow.
mentioned in my last page of the slide.
Okay.
Babel Stone, and it can be inserted through the map, character map. Yeah,
wow, fascinating. I'm gonna look it up and try it out. Thanks a lot, Duoduo. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Duoduo.
Thank you, Dennis.